What are the key job interview methods? The job interview process enables the selection team to interact with the shortlisted applicants and determine the most suitable candidate for the vacant position in the organization. The selection panel has the leeway to use the most effective and efficient job interview procedure. Interview selection methods include 1. Questionnaire interview. The candidates are given standard questions to respond to in a physical, electronic, or online format. The selection panel scores all the filled questionnaires and ranks the candidates from the highest to the lowest marks. The top candidates are identified to proceed to the next step of the selection process. A benefit of the questionnaire interview is standardized questions and answers for all candidates. The suitable duration for filling out the questionnaire by a candidate is 30 minutes. An issue with the questionnaire interview is that it does not support verbal communication and social interactions between the interviewers and candidates. 2. Telephone interview. The selection panel contacts each candidate for a phone discussion on the competencies for the job. The responses are recorded, scored, and the candidates are ranked from the highest to the lowest. Top candidates proceed to the next step of the selection process. The telephone interview is suitable for an urgent selection exercise. The approximate duration for the telephone interview is 30 minutes. An issue with a telephone interview is that the interviewer cannot assess the body language of the candidates. 3. Video interview. Online meeting platforms, for example, Google Meet and Skype, enable the interview panel to discuss qualifications for the job with the candidates. Responses from all the candidates are recorded, scored, and ranked. The top candidates proceed to the next step of the selection process. A video interview is suitable for long-distance candidates. A good duration for a video interview with a candidate is 30 to 60 minutes. An issue with the online video interview is that the process can be hindered by poor internet or network connectivity. 4. Face-to-face interview. Each candidate is given the chance to meet the selection panel and discuss qualifications for the job. The panel records the average scores and ranks the candidates from highest to lowest. The top candidates are identified and they qualify for the next step of the selection process. The face-to-face interview style is effective in assessing the oral communication, body language, and social skills level of the candidates. The suitable duration for a face-to-face interview is between 30 and 60 minutes per candidate. A challenge with the face-to-face interview is interviewer bias influenced by the physical appearance of the candidates. 5. Panel interview. The interview panel is a team of professionals in charge of the selection exercise. Each candidate appears before the panel to present and discuss his or her qualifications for the job. Each panelist records the responses and scores of the candidate. The panel calculates and records the average score of each candidate. The secretary of the panel ranks the average marks of all the candidates from the highest to the lowest. The top candidates are identified to proceed to the next step of the selection exercise. A panel interview is suitable for diverse and expert discussions on the suitability for the job. A good duration for the panel interview for each candidate is between 30 and 60 minutes. A key challenge with the panel interview is regular interruptions of the candidate by the interviewers. 6. Skills assessment interview. The panel requests each candidate to demonstrate a skill, for example, designing a website or mobile app that is relevant to the operations of the organization. Scoring is done and the panel ranks the average marks of the candidates from the highest to the lowest. The top-ranked candidates proceed to the next step of the selection process. Skill assessment is suitable for expert and specialist roles, for example, programming, manufacturing, and sales positions. A good duration for demonstrating skill in an interview is 1 hour. A challenge with skill assessment is the high pressure on a candidate to demonstrate skill competency within the limited interview duration. 7. Behavioral interview. The interview panel places the candidate in a challenging situation in the workplace to assess how they address an issue and the result of their action. A good example is evaluating how a candidate addresses a customer inquiry or complaint at the front office. The panel scores and ranks the average marks of the candidates from the highest to the lowest. The top-ranked candidates proceed to the next step of the selection process. The behavioral interview enables the panelists to monitor and evaluate the actual work performance of the candidates. The good duration for the behavioral interview for each candidate is between 30 and 60 minutes. A challenge is that some candidates may deliver good work results when they know they are being watched and evaluated by the interviewers. 8. Case study interview. The panel encourages the candidates to elaborate on how other organizations in the same industry address issues and improve performance. The candidate provides evidence-based responses and examples. The panel records the scores and ranks the average marks of the candidates from the highest to the lowest. Top-ranked candidates proceed to the next step of the selection process. A case study interview is effective for discussing evidence-based best practices in the industry. A sufficient duration for a case study interview for one candidate is 1 hour. A challenge with the case study interview is that a successful best practice for a competitor may not be suitable for the organization. 9. Group interview. The interview panel categorizes the candidates into teams. Each team is given the chance to respond to questions, accomplish a task, and make a presentation to the interview panel. The panel scores the responses and performance of each team. Average scores are recorded and the teams are ranked from the highest to the lowest marks. The top-ranked team proceeds to the next step of the selection process. The group interview is suitable in a workplace that values teamwork, project work, and collective problem-solving in decision-making processes. The suitable duration for a group interview for each team is 1 hour. In a group interview, it is a challenge to identify the individual performance of each candidate, as the focus is on ranking the team. The best selection procedure integrates several job interview methods, for example, face-to-face, skill assessment, and group interviews, as per the direction of the interview panel of the organization.